As well, but one of the big stories today on eNCA is going to be the fight, the wrestle, if you will, for Johannesburg's mayoral change. The DA blaming the PA, the Patriotic Alliance, for the collapse of the coalition negotiations. Now, council expected to elect a new mayor today. It's a second attempt just this week to get that right. Let's get into the details of how the DA is seeing things at the moment. Gauteng DA leader Msimanga joining us this morning. Mr. Msimanga, thanks for your time. Let's start first of all. You say the PA is collapsing everything. The PA and their coalition partners and who they are agreeing with are saying the Democratic Alliance is being arrogant in the way you're handling coalitions. What's your reaction?
Well, thank you very much, Gareth, for giving us an opportunity. First of all, I must declare that the Action SA, not the DA, when there was the removal of popularity, they declared that there's no longer a coalition in the city of Johannesburg, that every party was then able to then do whatever it is that they wanted to do. So we went with that. And, you know, when then the opportunity arose when the mayor then resigned now. They then decided to put a team together of different parties, excluding the DA, agreed that they were going to put Funzi Ngobeni, but realized that they don't have the numbers, then approached the DA in the last minute and say, we would want you to support us, but then we would want to then bring in the PA. We said, okay, let's come into a meeting and then have a discussion. We got into that meeting. We are told that, they want to then form a new coalition. We asked two questions. One is that, what do we do to make sure that this coalition, unlike the ones that have taken place in the city of Johannesburg, will be able to then sustain itself up to 2026, meaning remaining the remainder of this current term of office. We then also asked, what are we going to do for the residents of the city of Johannesburg? So two things. One is that, what are we going to do? The second part is what are we going to then put in place to make sure that we all stay the course? We couldn't get a straight answer. And we said the DA is very much uncomfortable. And one of the things that we were proposing was that the PA, because PA were the ones who were responsible for the removal of populace in the first place, because they then decided to renegade on what has been agreed on. Are they willing to then distance themselves from the ANC? Because then that will close, that loophole that it seems to be somehow problematic, where they feel that they can go in between two parties and then engage.
So, Mr. Msimanga, help me understand. So that's what happened there. What are we looking like going into today? Is today going to be another mess where we just have adjournments and caucuses and nothing happens? Or what's going to happen today, to your mind? Are we going to get a new mayor in Joburg?
Let's correct something very quickly, Gareth. The DA never called, or the opposition never called for, caucuses in the previous meeting that was taking place. It was the ANC, it was the EFF, it was the smaller parties that were calling for those, caucus adjournments or caucus breaks, because they were trying to find each other. We are ready to go and represent the people that voted for us. We are ready to then go and say, we have been given a mandate to fight for the residents of Johannesburg. We will put the name of populace up. We will defend, those that have voted for us, the constituency that have voted for us, to represent them in the city of Johannesburg. And that's what we will do here today.
If not Mpho, who is your candidate moving forward, you just reminded viewers of that, and the PA putting forward Kenny Kunene, and Mpho were to lose the vote, would you work with Kenny Kunene?
Well, we will definitely not be able to do that. But I think what we will then be able to then do is to then have a caucus at that point and then decide what is the next step that the Democratic Alliance will then be taking going forward.
Will you try and remove him again? Will you try and remove him for a motion of no confidence?
We are not going to be part of a ping pong where there is instability in the city of Johannesburg. The residents of Johannesburg have suffered long and hard enough for us to be contributing towards an unstable government that isn't going to be in place, or us playing games instead of providing services, or at least solutions to provide the provision of services in the city of Johannesburg. We are not going to be part of those games, and this is something that we are making a promise to the residents of Johannesburg and to the residents of South Africa. We take the residents of this particular council, and indeed the residents of South Africa in general, very, very serious to continue with this endless games that have been played here.
Let me ask you about next year, 2024 general elections. Many analysts are coming out, one of those being JJ Tabane on his show Power to Truth, and also speaking to Sally Baudet last night, saying that with all this infighting with the coalition at a municipal level, a city level, a provincial level, all the coalition partners are essentially handing the ANC a win in next year's elections. Your response?
Well, this is why we have, initiated the Moonshot Pact, because we want to make sure that before we even get to the elections next year, there is a clear understanding of what is it that we are trying to achieve. What will a South Africa look like? How will it be governed? What is it that we will be able to put in place? That happens before you engage and talk about positions, because the moment you start jostling for positions and forgetting about what the mandate is, that's where the problem starts. And this is why we are now saying, way before we even get to the elections, are parties that have a similar outlook and, a passion and an interest to serving the residents of this beautiful country of ours. Can we get together and discuss how we will be able to then tackle this? And then you will find that it becomes easier when we then get to that to the election time. That there will not be any jostling for positions. There will not be a ping pong that is actually taking place. And this is what we are hoping that we'll be able to then achieve. And this is going to then clear the concerns that Tabane and others have been raising for a very long time.
All right, Msimanga, I'm going to say thank you very much for your time.